So I'm going to create a guide to gaining weight, a guide to gaining weight that will also keep you relatively healthy. It's an approach that's based off of facts and observation, so it'll work. So the first thing to take into consideration is that in order to gain weight, you need to be in a calorie surplus. So you need to be eating 300 to 500 calories above your maintenance calories. How do you calculate your maintenance calories? I'll show you. You can see I brought up a BMR calculator. I just entered BMR calculator into Google and clicked on the first option. So I already entered all of my info. I'm just going to hit calculate. And you can see that my BMR is 1,934 calories a day. So this is how many calories I burn even when I'm at rest. So the next thing you want to do is download a pedometer app on your phone. Not only will it tell you the amount of steps you've taken throughout the day, but it'll also tell you the amount of calories you've burnt taking steps. So you're going to take that total that you get and you're going to add that to your BMR score, your basal metabolic rate score. And that will be how many calories you need per day to maintain your current body weight. So if you're a weightlifter and you do cardio regularly, you're going to want to kind of guesstimate how many calories you burn during your weightlifting sessions. I usually guesstimate it at like 150 to 200, but it also depends on the intensity you train with and the amount of volume you're doing. With the cardio implements that are at the gym, it should give you fairly accurate feedback. It should be pretty accurate when it tells you how many calories you've burned. So just add that onto your total and you have your new maintenance calories. So if you want to gain weight at a healthy pace, you're going to want to add 300 to 500 extra calories on top of your maintenance. So let's dive down and talk about macronutrients and macronutrient sources. You have carbohydrates, you have protein, and you have fats. Not all carbs, proteins, and fats are built the same though. 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So fats are the most calorie-dense macronutrient you have. So this is how I calculate my diet. I want about 500 grams of carbs per day. So 500 times 4, because each gram of carb is 4 calories, right? So 2,000 of my calories per day come from carbs. So I also want 250 grams of protein per day. So 250 times 4, 1,000, right? Plus 2,000. That's 3,000 calories overall so far. And then I want about 80 grams of fats per day. So 80 times 9, 720, plus 3,000. That would be a good place to start if I wanted to gain weight. So now we're going to talk about carbohydrate selection. I get the majority of my carbs from white rice, potatoes, and oats. I also think honey pre-workout is a really good idea. And I also occasionally eat fruit. You really don't have to be super rigid with your approach. Just understand that more sugary foods like fruits and more simple carbohydrates should be complemented with physical activity. White rice is really good. It digests easily. It's easy to cook. And, it tastes good enough, Potatoes are the shit. Potatoes are pretty much a superfood. Potatoes have more potassium than a banana, more vitamin C than an orange, and they're rich in micronutrients. Not only that, but they have a lot of potassium. We'll get into electrolytes here in a minute. As far as protein selection goes, I usually opt for chicken, red meat. Eggs are good in moderation. Plant proteins are good. I really think it's important to get a pretty wide variety of protein sources. Collagen protein is also really good. So that's a pro tip. If you want to keep your joints and your skin strong, that's the way to do it. Fish is a really good choice too. Now as far as fats go, I think it's smart to get as many omega-3 rich fats as you possibly can. Not to say that you shouldn't have saturated fats in your diet, you just don't want like a big excess of saturated fats. So I really like flaxseed oil. Hemp seeds are really good. Chia seeds are really good. Flax seeds are really good. Fish oil supplements are pretty good. Yeah, and as far as saturated fats go, like coconut oil and the fat that you would get off of a piece of red meat, that's saturated fat, that's pretty good. But if you want to keep your HDL to LDL ratio on point and favorable, then a lot of omega-3s is probably a good idea. Plus, it thins your blood, it lessens your likelihood of heart attacks, and yeah, there's probably a study somewhere that links a reduced all-cause mortality to omega-3 supplementation. I almost guarantee it. And another thing is that you don't want to avoid vegetables. Yeah, I eat many different vegetables. I think that eating fiber is an important thing too. You want to keep your microbiome as varied as possible. So if you want your metabolic fire to burn properly, just eat a little bit of everything and be moderate in your approach. So I'm also going to show you guys like creative meal ideas that can be made. Yeah, meal prep is your best friend if you want to gain weight or lose weight for that matter. So just knowing that you have that meal there waiting and ready for you is a relief, and it's going to alleviate a lot of the impulsive eating habits. So next we're going to move to hydration. So depending on who you are and your overall body mass, you know, a chick might only have to drink like 3 liters of water a day. But as for me, I drink like 6 liters a day, especially if I'm bulking, because I have so much substrate inside of my body. I just need lots of water in order to make sure that my digestive processes are being carried out efficiently. So a general rule of thumb is the more you eat, the more water you drink. And water is exceptionally important. It's going to help prevent insulin resistance. The one thing that's really needed for life to take place, the success of your biological processes are contingent upon water. Water, it is a catalyst. And it's one thing that we can't recreate, so it's obviously pretty special. Now we're going to talk about electrolytes. So we're going to start with sodium. So water follows sodium in the body. If you have more sodium in your diet, you're going to retain more water. And the more water you retain, the more anabolic you are. And this is because the processing of all nutrients is facilitated by the movements of water within your body. The next one is potassium. There's kind of this reciprocal relationship between potassium and sodium. Water follows sodium into the muscle cell, and potassium pushes it back out. Potassium and sodium also work together to moderate the amount of red blood cells in your body, as well as your heart rate and blood pressure. Next we have magnesium. So magnesium is really important because it serves as a cofactor for many enzymatic processes. It's really important for cellular energy metabolism. It also maintains stability within the nervous system. Magnesium is known to have a calming effect, and it can also be a laxative. Be careful. The next one we have is calcium. So calcium is integral in bone formation. And just like the other electrolytes, it's going to help maintain the flow of water in and out of cells. So making sure that you have an adequate amount of these right here, that will help your body function. It'll help you hold on to nutrients more effectively. Not only that, but your muscles will fire more effectively. And it's just good for overall health. It makes a lot of sense to get these. So I supplement with those. I use the salt substitute called like no salt. There's also a generic equivalent to that. So one serving is like 400 milligrams of potassium. I also use iodized table salt. And as far as magnesium goes, the seeds that I eat have a lot of magnesium, but I do also have a magnesium complex that I take. As far as calcium goes, calcium is everywhere. I'm not too worried about calcium. There's one electrolyte that I forgot though, and it's one of my favorite elements. Good old phosphorus. Phosphorus is important because of its role in gene transcription. So in other words, the actual expression of your genetics, well, phosphorus is kind of like a very large determining factor. Not only that, but it's a negatively charged electrolyte. There's actually one more, it's chloride, but I'm going to leave that one up to you. You look it up, see what it does. So let's talk about eating schedules. So ideally you would eat on a 12-12 schedule, and you would consume all of your macronutrients a little bit throughout the course of the day. So maybe like 4 meals. You want your fast digesting carbohydrates like fruit or honey to be scheduled around activity times. So for example, I eat at 12, 4, 8, and 12. Having it spread throughout the course of the day like that works really well. I don't really feel hunger. It's nice. If I do feel hunger, it'll be like right before my first meal, and that's about it. So it's like 125 grams of carbs per meal, 62 grams of protein per meal, and like 20 grams of fats per meal. And one really good trick to stay pretty lean even as you gain weight is to do fasted cardio. So right before your first meal, just do a little bit of cardio, 20, maybe 30 minutes, and that's all it really takes. Doing this will really ensure that your body is very receptive to the nutrients you give it. Plus, there's lots of studies that indicate the health benefits of cardio. I don't think I really have to go into detail about that because it's just well known. Really, it doesn't even have to be cardio. You could just go for a walk. That would help a lot. But that's all I got for right now. I feel like this gives you a pretty good platform on which to operate, a pretty good foundation of knowledge, Now, all you have to do is put it into effect.